Hi, this is Chrissy Incognito, and welcome to another episode of my channel. Now, you might be wondering why I'm incognito. This is my alter ego that can say things that I cannot otherwise say unless I was incognito. So, thank you for returning. In order to understand more about this episode, please view the previous episode. Happy listening.
And now, um, my father installed AOL. Okay. Now I had heard from all my friends at college, all my friends in outside of college, that how awesome and wonderful these chat rooms were, and it's so fun, and it's so this, and it's so that. So I go in and I was like, "Oh, okay, I see how it works." It's kind of by titles. And if you're interested in this topic, let's say it was sports, right? Um, I'm in the Northeast, so sports of the Northeast, or um, you know, uh, a movie. At the time, I don't know, Jurassic Park. I don't know. I'm really dating myself, but so it was so funny because there was a medical, chat room, and I forget what it was entitled, but it was, I don't know, it was like medical staff or medical professional, right? It didn't seem like it was kinky or anything. So like a stunad, I'm like, I know exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm going to go into these chat rooms and I'm gonna learn medical stuff. So when he comes back, we can communicate. What the fuck he's talking about? Okay. So I go in there. I'm like, I had no idea that people weren't talking about medical stuff. Weren't talking about anything. They were just fighting with each other, and it was just stupid. So I spent time in that chat room because I was like, I am gonna learn stuff. So this way, when he says all these awkward things, I have a response, right? So that didn't happen. But what did happen is the start of another relationship. Okay. So that's going to be entitled Lance, and that's going to be in another episode. So let me finish out Robert here. So he comes back, and now he was offered a rotation. I guess, I don't know, you have to apply for it and they have to accept it. So he was accepted into, I'm sorry, not a rotation, a residency. He was accepted into a residency for the hospital that we met at. So he had applied to a couple, and he was probably offered all of them, and then he decided to go to the hospital that we met at. So in this time, before he's now getting settled, we've communicated on the phone because we've even though he's been at a distance, we've been talking, we've been emailing. Now I gave him my personal home email, which was a big deal back then. And so there was, communication and everything. It wasn't just like he went away and I had these like awkward encounters and then nothing, right? He seemed normal. We were having conversations. I get it that most of the time it focused around work. He was so immersed in it, you know. So I I I was like, okay, he's settled now. He's not going to be keep going and coming, going and coming. I'm gonna kind of bring it up that I like him, right? Because right now I think there was one other time he asked me out before this. So we had, I think it was 3 times, I'm not sure, 2 or 3 times on a date. I think 2 times was the studying, and then the other one was the Italian restaurant. Um, So I'm like, okay, where are we going with this? Right? I mean, you keep coming because he kept coming, he kept being like the first initiation, he was like, you want to study. The second one, it was like, I want to take you out. And then the third, I think, was another study. I believe so. So I'm like, you know what? Some guys just need to be hit over the head. Um, I mean, he's so busy, um, for a guy to be like, "Oh, you like me? Oh, yeah, okay, alright, yeah, like, I'm digging it too." So, I call him up, and now he's got roommates, so he picks up the phone, and it's very, like, noisy in the back, you could hear people and stuff like that, and he's like, "Oh, let me go out into the hall because, the air conditioner, which was in the window, and my roommates are making a lot of noise." And I was like, "Okay." So I said, "Robert, now that you're back, I kinda wanna let you know that I, I'm sorry, wait a minute. Let me back up. Okay. So I was studying for the GREs. He was studying for the boards. He was trying to get into a residency. He got in this in meantime. And I had applied to graduate school. Okay. So I said, that's what it was. I said, "Oh, Robert, I wanted to let you know that I was accepted into a master's program." His response was, "It's about time." Okay? Because you've gotta remember, by the time he was 26, he was done with medical school. Well, okay. G Good for you that you didn't have a life that you could concentrate all on it. Um, and that's what he meant by "it's about time." So at this time, I was so technically, okay, if we're gonna make it technical, you go to college at 18, you get out, or 17 or whatever. You get out 4 years later, which is 21, and then the following semester when you're 21, you get accepted into a graduate program or a master's program or a medical school or a law school, okay? It's like usually around 21, 22, depending on, like, when I started college, I was 18. Um, and I was 23. I was maybe gonna turn 24. So his response was, "Oh, it's about time." And it wasn't like, "Oh, it's about time you heard from them." It's about time they're keeping you, on pins and needles here. And I just at that point, I should have been like, "You're an asshole. Good luck, and good luck to the woman who's going to choose you," or whatever. So, again, I was kind of thrown off by that response. I was like, "Oh, well, Robert, Robert, I wanted to tell you, we've spent some time together and, I like you." He goes, "Oh, I'm living with my girlfriend." Okay. I was like, "Oh." He's like, "Yeah, we've been dating um for a couple of years or something like that." He was in his medical school too. And I I was very confused about the conversation. First, it's about time. Like, I'm Grandma Moses, and I'm about to, like, fall off my rocker, and it's about time that you got it together. And then it was like, "Why did you ask me out?" Okay, now, let's ponder this for a moment because it took me years to try to figure out what the hell was going on. Okay, he didn't act like, "Oh, well, yeah, I was kinda seeing this girl, we kinda made it permanent, and we moved in toge" I think she was one of the roommates or something. And, it wasn't one of those, yeah, I didn't really know where the relationship was going, because we were on and off. But then we, decided to make it permanent. He was seeing her the whole time. Now, I was very confused, okay? Because honestly, there were plenty of people. I mean, he wasn't from around there, but all of his students, all the people that he went to medical school, they were all around the area too. So it wasn't like you knew absolutely no one. And I was the only one you could think of to hang out with. It was like, obviously, he didn't kiss me, he didn't do this, but it wasn't just like, let's get together and study. Oh, let me take you out to dinner. So I had to think about it, and the only thing that I could think of is mm, he thought I was gonna be old enough to try to sleep with him. Like, I have not made any moves. I've just followed your lead, and suddenly I'm gonna break out with my heels and my skirt, be like, "I need to have you." So, for somebody, in my opinion, for somebody who was trying to make this about one thing, he didn't even succeed in that. And what I mean by he didn't even kiss me. He didn't kiss me. He didn't try to pursue me, which is fine because we weren't anywhere like that. But why would you bother with me? I mean, obviously, we weren't having great conversation. I mean, I was trying to make it work because he was the man of my dreams. But I was so confused after that. I was like he tried to contact me a few more times, and I didn't respond. So that particular incident in my life led to Lance. A lot more with that story, okay? But I had to set the tone because you wouldn't have understood how I got to Lance if you didn't understand what happened with Robert, okay? So, I wanna thank you, for watching this episode. I think I'm going to entitle it Robert, but I'm not really sure yet. And, the next episode will be Lance, the mini series. That's a little bit more involved. So, stay tuned and catch the next, episode. And as they say on here, like and subscribe. And this is Chrissy Incognito wishing you happy listening.